The reason we had Rachel Zegler on the docket is she's an asshole.
Look at me. Sure. Look at me. Sure.
I am the Snow White now.
Yes, but they're my own original creation. There's Krabby, Drunky, Hungry, Greedy, Lenny,
Kearney,
and Doc. Tor Hibbert.
This is no ordinary apple, my dear. It's a magic wishing apple.
A wishing apple?
Yes, one bite and all your dreams will come true.
You offer it to me freely.
Now, one thing that is already universally known at this point by the general public is the fact that Disney is in full-on damage control mode.
I came back, the losses were around $4 billion a year.
Well, I know this point has been made, but this truly is the worst casting maybe in the history of the film industry. Has there been a film with worse casting than this? And I don't just mean the Snow White actress. Obviously, she's terrible, but both of them.
In place of the patriarchy, you would have a queen! Not white, but diverse, inclusive, and equitable! I will become the leader I know I can be! All shall love me and despair!
Get away from her, you hideous hag! Oh, what has she done to you? Fear not, first love's kiss can break any curse.
Go blue. Did Disney just learn a lesson about the phrase go woke and go broke? We face risk relating to misalignment with public and consumer tastes and preferences for entertainment, travel, and consumer products.
What did you think was going to happen when you chose specifically this actress for the job?
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Well, I'm sorry they didn't line up to see your love quite clearly based on the box office numbers.
She's literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is?
I don't think they're gonna buy it. I don't think they're gonna watch it. I don't think they're gonna like it.
HD TV on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
You would do in a pinch, my queen. But Snow White's the fairest I have seen. Also, there's a weather girl on Channel 9 who's...
So hopefully this flops so hard that they finally learn their lesson.
No one on the right side of America can stand the star of this movie.
Well, they could just write a new story. I mean, that's you don't have to take a classic fairy tale that's been loved for generations and destroy it. You can just write a new story about an empowered girl who wants to be a great leader and not call it Snow White.
Whoa! She's beautiful.
Maybe she's been placed under some kind of a curse.
And all that will wake her is the kiss of a handsome...
I'm awake already!
Well, Andrew, woke is a poison apple and Disney have had a big bite of it. This movie should be called... They should call this movie Snow Woke and the Seven Pronouns. It's so bad, if you were to watch this movie on an aeroplane, Andrew, you'd walk out.
This is truly, like... She has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go.
Well, we all basically knew that Snow White was going to be a massive failure at the box office because of Rachel Zegler's controversial statement. And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
You know, I don't need your business. You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it. You didn't direct it. You have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
Welcome back to Tea Time with Tina. So, The Simpsons just brutally mocked Disney's so-called Snow White reboot that has exploded into a multi-million-dollar dumpster fire. And at the epicenter of this inferno stands a loudmouth entitled brat named Rachel Zegler, Hollywood's most tone-deaf princess ever crowned.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
If you thought fairy tales were supposed to sparkle with magic, think again. This grimmest of fairy tale flops traded glass slippers for a major audience backlash and replacing genuine storytelling with a toxic cocktail of buzzwords, virtue signaling, and cinematic malpractice. Strap in because we're about to excavate every egregious misstep, cringe-worthy interview, and PR stunt that turned a beloved classic into a cautionary tale so spectacularly bad, it makes 2016's Dumbo remake look like Citizen Kane by comparison.
Who's the Disney character you identify with most? Mickey, Nemo, Peter Pan, or Dumbo? Very interesting array. Dumbo. That's sad.
By the opening weekend, the magic carpet had flipped, revealing a studio scrambling to explain why their groundbreaking princess couldn't hold a candle to a 1937 cartoon. Ticket sales fell off a cliff faster than a runaway minecart, leaving the boardroom looking more haunted than the Haunted Mansion. With whispers of layoffs, canceled sequels, and executive resignations swirling, this flop isn't just another Friday the 13th of box office bust, it's a case study in how not to reboot a classic.
Although, you know what's interesting, Andrew? It got, I think, 2.1 rating on IMDb, which is less than what the Little Mermaid live-action remake made.
And at the heart of it, Rachel Zegler's name has become synonymous with everything that went wrong. More on that in a bit. Now, before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe because let's face it, I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. The Simpsons didn't tiptoe. They dive-bombed Disney with a precision strike of satire so blistering, it left executives scrambling for fire extinguishers. In their savage parody, Snow White morphs into an Instagram influencer gone rogue, lecturing woodland critters about safe spaces and diversity checklists. Gone are the seven dwarfs, expunged in favor of indistinct CGI lumps that look like rejected Looney Tunes sidekicks.
Doesn't need a prince to save her, and not surrounded by seven weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
Just something in our house. Let's put a pickaxe in its brain. You're in marketing. Why do you even bring an axe? If you were in marketing, you'd know.
Wielding a crossbow of sarcasm, quipped that Disney's PR department must have mistaken inclusive for insipid, and the audience roared in agreement. They skewered every miscalculated beat, the preachy monologues dripping with woke shorthand, the hollow power poses, and the relentless hashtag activism that paddled this narrative down a river of smug moralizing. Watching that sequence was akin to witnessing a medieval execution, cartoon gallows humor at its finest, proving that nothing says creative bankruptcy like letting Lisa Simpson school you on nuance.
Are there any dwarves in your story?
Yes, but they're my own original creation. Because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor.
And she lived happily ever after?
Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball.
If you tuned in expecting mere chuckles, you got a full-blown evisceration. Memes exploded across Twitter, splicing Simpsons footage with clips of Disney execs pressed into uncomfortable smiles. Reaction videos titled, "Disney Destroyed by Homer Simpson," racked up millions of views within hours. Fan forums lit up with comments like, "Lisa has more depth in her pink dress than this entire movie," and "I'd rather watch Grandpa Simpson rant than sit through another smug lecture." Even late-night hosts couldn't resist. One quipped, "Disney's new film is so woke, the only thing missing is a safe space castle turret." The parody hit harder than a poisoned apple.
Care for an apple? Okay. I'll take a green one.
No, take the red one. Take a bite, dearie.
Revealing that even America's longest-running cartoon could see through Disney's hollow facade, long before paying customers did. Let's talk numbers. Disney threw a staggering $250 to $300 million to start this cinematic car crash. Money that could have resurrected Fantasia, funded an indie auteur's entire trilogy, or at least bought them a decent script. Instead, they splurged on mountains of VFX flourishes that weighed the final product down like a leaden dress at a royal ball. Every press conference felt like watching ambition collapse under its own weight. Executives parading buzzwords, feminist retelling, diverse reimagining, social justice spectacle, until the room buzzed like a malfunctioning hype machine.
And once again, the public has said, "We hate your woke bullcrap."
Then the fans recoiled at the removal of the seven dwarfs. Disney's claim that erasure equals progress earned eye rolls so loud you could hear them at Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. Focus groups reportedly skewered early cuts, but studio heads shrugged and shouted, Ship it predictably, audiences bailed faster than Cinderella fleeing the ball. Box office tallies cratered, trending down faster than a faulty elevator in a haunted castle. But no villain monologue is complete without the leading lady's own cringe fest. Rachel Zegler stormed through interviews like a reality show diva handed the keys to the kingdom, pronouncing Snow White a trailblazer who doesn't need saving.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Cue facepalms worldwide. When fans dared to question her sanctimonious proclamations, Zegler snapped back with, "Unfollow me if you can't handle real empowerment," strutting across social media as if she were auditioning for the Real Housewives of Hollywood. Her Twitter rants read like a masterclass in missing the point. Passive-aggressive clapbacks 1 minute, solemn soliloquies the next. One viral clip showed her scolding a reporter for asking about fan reactions, replying, "I'm not here for your negativity," as if she'd been cast in an off-Broadway morality play. She piled insult on injury by implying that criticism stemmed from old-school patriarchy, as though ancient stereotypes had personally attacked her bespoke costume. Watching her stumble through PR misfires was like witnessing a toddler attempting Shakespeare. So earnest, so overwrought, so undeniably ridiculous.
Rachel Zegler is a PR nightmare. Every time she opens her mouth, it's crisis mode.
Now here's where it gets even crazier. Behind the scenes, studio insiders whisper about actual malice in the marketing memos. Anonymous executives apparently discussed smear campaigns to shift blame onto the cast. Because when your billion-dollar gamble blows up, nothing says integrity, like plotting to tarnish your own star's reputation. Reports leaked that focus groups weren't allowed to mention Zegler by name. If they did, those tapes were promptly lost. Meanwhile, Disney influencers were discreetly paid off to drop positive tweets, an internet version of buying off the town crier. One Hollywood insider told us that boardroom meetings devolved into finger-pointing marathons, with senior producers vocally panicking over shareholder lawsuits and irreparable brand damage. It's the kind of cloak and dagger drama you expect in spy thrillers, not at the House of Rats. Oops, my bad. I mean House of Mouse. Even the studio's internal crisis emails read like a lesser-known Dan Brown novel. Memos labeled Operation Phoenix, aimed to revive audience goodwill, while attachments titled Project Apology Tour laid out scripted apology tweets for Zegler to post at scheduled intervals. Leaked screenshots showed date-stamped instructions. Rachel to post vulnerability quote on Instagram 3/17 at 2 p.m. must include #growth. Meanwhile, the PR team debated whether to spin the fiasco as a necessary evolutionary step or a bold experiment. Their chosen phrase? Creative recalibration. This linguistic gymnastics only fueled the fire, sparking parodies of Disney's own press releases. "We're sorry for nothing. We embrace our mistakes, and we apologize if you don't like it." One intern even circulated a mock newsletter titled The Dark Side of the Mouse, chronicling every scandal, from backstage meltdowns to clandestine payments. That newsletter now has its own cult following, proof that an epic fail can become entertainment in its own right. And the carnage? Let's just say box office numbers read like a horror story. Opening weekend seemed promising on paper, but by Tuesday morning, ticket sales had cratered faster than a lead balloon. Projections now show losses exceeding $500 million once marketing expenses and theater cuts settle, enough to greenlight at least 2 Marvel spin-offs or commission another Pixar masterpiece. And what of Rachel Zegler? Rumors swirl that her phone has fallen silent, with casting directors marking her box office poison. Industry mavens whisper about her becoming uninsurable, an unofficial death knell in Tinseltown. Some agencies have even begun quietly rewriting her resume, erasing this fiasco like a bad tattoo. Her social media following cratered by the thousands, leaving behind echo chambers of regret and regretful echoes. The princess might have lost her kingdom, but in Hollywood's cruel court, you only need one misfire to be cast out. Critics were merciless. Rotten Tomatoes scores plunged down to 1.8 or 1.9, something like that. And audience score graphs looked like ECGs for a dying patient. Google searches for Snow White spiked, but only because people wanted to see just how spectacularly it tanked. Home video pre-orders stalled, and streaming rights negotiations hit deadlock. Netflix reportedly nixed a deal when their executives realized they'd have to pay for a film nobody wanted to watch. Even Disney Plus subscribers petitioned to remove it from the platform, calling it toxic content and emotional abuse for casual viewers. At Comic-Con, panels meant to hype the remake were replaced by Q&A sessions on how to survive a studio meltdown. Cosplayers dressed as the cursed Snow White circulated pamphlets titled Lessons in PR Disaster, complete with bullet points on never swap dwarfs for generic CGI and don't let your star go full meltdown on Twitter. Here's the final twist. Behind closed doors, legal vultures circle a rumored $400 million countersuit. Details still under wraps, but allegedly targeting everyone from the studio brass to Zegler's own PR reps. Word is that advocacy groups for dwarfism are drafting class action filings, while shareholders murmur about breach of contract claims for misleading projections. Disney's PR team is prepping a learning experience campaign that will feel about as sincere as a robotic apology from C-3PO. Zegler's agents are crafting a growth and reflection narrative, which, given the carnage she left behind, reads more like damage control fanfiction. One thing's certain, this story isn't over. If you think that Disney's fairy tale folly has reached its final page, think again. This saga has more twists than the evil queen's wardrobe. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and buckle up, because next chapter promises more scandal, more insider leaks, and yes, more lawsuits than you can shake a poisoned apple at. In the immortal words of our dear departed dwarfs, hi-ho, it's off to court we go. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.